Welcome back inside SportsWorldNews.com. I'm Brett Topel. Hey, look who stopped by. It's Nastia Liukin, Olympic champion, 5-time Olympic champion, American gymnast. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. We'll talk about your Olympic feats in a little while. You were born into the sport, gymnastics. Your parents were both championship gymnasts. Talk a little bit about your childhood and how you kind of became a passion of yours.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a passion from a very early age because, like you said, both my parents were gymnasts. My dad competed at the 1988 Olympic Games and won 2 gold and 2 silver medals. My mom was rhythmic gymnast world champion. So it was just, I feel like I was born with gymnastics in my blood. But the funny thing is they never really pushed me into it. They actually didn't want me to do it because they knew how hard it was and the injuries, the obstacles, everything that you have to overcome to be the best at gymnastics. And at an early age, I just developed this passion for it because I spent so much time with them. I was actually born in Russia, so we moved over to the United States when I was 2.5 years old, and they moved over with absolutely nothing. No money, just a little baby me, a few suitcases. And so at that age, I just kind of spent all that time in the gym because they didn't really have money for a babysitter. But that's how I developed the passion and love for the sport of gymnastics. And I just wanted to be like the older girls, and I tried to copy them. And I was like begging my parents to just teach me how to do a flip or, you know, do something on the balance beam. And when they saw that passion and love I had for the sport, and at an early age I had like this God-given talent, and they're like, we can't take that away from you. Sure. So if you want to do it, we'll let you do it. And
when did that passion, that drive, and that talent, when did you first start to think, hey, I can make it to the Olympics?
So when I was about 9 years old, I mean, I started little classes when I was like 3. I started competing when I was 6. But when I was 9, I won the level 6 state championships of Texas. And I thought then, I was like, I'm going to go to the Olympics, because I remember standing there and getting the gold medal for like our level 6 state meet. And, you know, I remember like telling myself, this is exactly what I want to do, but on a bigger stage, a world championships and Olympic games. And I think that's kind of when I developed that drive and the love for also winning. And I remember that feeling, and I just really wanted to achieve it on a bigger level.
And then 2008, there you are, you're on the big stage in Beijing. What was that like?
It's so hard to put into words, even though it's been so many years after. It's every emotion that you can ever think of. You feel it all in that one moment. So, I mean, between, you know, being so nervous you kind of want to puke, to being excited, honored, proud to represent your country. I think most of all it was exciting, and like that's such a generic word, but I feel like there's no other word to really explain being at the Olympic Games and seeing your flag being raised and listening to the national anthem and then looking down and seeing a gold medal hanging around your neck. And right. My dad, who was also my coach, I remember spotting him from across the arena, and for the first time in my life I saw tears in his eyes, so I immediately started crying. And it was such this heartwarming moment to know that this dream that I had been dreaming of ever since I was a little girl had finally paid off.
And of course you win the gold in the all-around, but you didn't win 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 medals in Beijing. You won 5 medals.
I did.
Looking back on it now, that's amazing.
It is, and I think it's taken me a few years to really realize that, because my dad won 4 Olympic medals, and I remember I beat him by 1, but his claim was he had 2 gold and I only had 1. But it definitely was a huge accomplishment, and I was able to tie that record with 2 other of my idols, Mary Lorette and Shannon Miller, who did win 5 medals at their Olympic Games as well. So to know that I was in a group of, like, in a league of those 2 amazing gymnasts was beyond incredible.
That's great. And I know you're very interested in the Olympic teams, current Olympic teams. You were in Sochi, right? Working for NBC, doing some commentating.
I was, yeah. That's been really fun for me, and it's kind of felt like the natural transition as I finished my competitive career in 2012, and I'm doing the commentating for gymnastics. But being in Sochi this time, it was obviously a Winter Olympic Games, sure. But I was a correspondent. It was really fun for me because I kind of got to do the lifestyle side of the Olympic Games and really be a fan, because I never really got to experience going to different events and checking out the local attractions. Being born in Moscow, but I had never been to Sochi, so I really got to get a feel for the city, and it was a lot of fun for me. I speak fluent Russian, so that came in very handy.
So it was a real homecoming.
Yes, it was, and I had to help a lot of people out by even, you know, little things like when we were up in the mountains at a restaurant and the menu was all in Russian, so I had to order for the whole table. So that was fun. My grandparents were proud that I was able to use my Russian skills. But The whole experience was really great, and that's something that I would really love to continue doing.
That's great. I know you've done some acting.
Yeah.
You've done a bunch of different things. What's next for you?
I have, and that's kind of what's been really fun for me the past few years, is trying to figure out what my next passion is, because you know, in my whole entire life, well, my first 22 years of my life, it was just gymnastics. And so I moved to New York, I started school at NYU, and I'm majoring in sports management. And not necessarily do I want to be an agent, but I really wanted to learn more of the business aspect of sports, because it's been such a huge part of my life, and really be more hands-on with my career. I'm, taking a law class. Last night, actually, I had a judge came in and we were assigned cases, and of course I was assigned the losing side. So I was like, it was like a pre-existing case too, so it's like you're reading it and you're like, how do I fight this? But it's been really fun for me to kind of do things that could come about in my career, and so that I could, or reading a contract and you can read the fine print, so it's like, as opposed to being like, oh, just sign this. So I'm really just trying to figure out what that passion is, and I would love to kind of obviously do more correspondence work and for NBC for the Olympics, and also get into lifestyle pieces and do a little bit more on that side. And I have my own competition, the Nastia Liukin Cup, that USA Gymnastics helps me run, and that's been amazing. This was the 5th year we've had that. So also trying to inspire girls to be able to live their dreams the way that I did.
That's awesome. We've had so much success early on. I'm sure whatever you do, you will find that same success. Nastia Liukin, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.